There's the story that people tell, and then there's the truth that really matters. Welcome to the Growth Obsessed podcast, where we have real and raw conversations on leadership and business and the relentless pursuit of growth. No fluff, no highlight reels, just the struggles, the setbacks, and the lessons that build true success. I'm Ben Lang, and I sit down with the most driven entrepreneurs and leaders to uncover what really shapes them, the pain, the resilience, and most importantly, the breakthroughs. If you are here, you're not looking for surface level motivation. You're here to be challenged, to grow. So let's get real. Let's get uncomfortable. This is the Growth Obsessed podcast. And don't forget to subscribe now, because the conversation that you need might be the one that changes everything. Today, I'm super pumped. I got Michael with us, and we just chatted for a couple moments. Interestingly enough, I've never met Michael before, just a few minutes ago. So he was telling me a little bit about a career shift right now and a little bit about his history. So man, am I pumped about this one, because there's a lot of alignment here, and I just think it's going to be super fun. So Michael, you were telling me about your new career. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think this is where a lot of people are struggling right now in today's society. Is they're living a life that they feel stuck in, and they're doing it maybe because they're good at it, or maybe because they've done it for so long they don't know how to get out, or maybe because it's all they know. But I feel like I know a lot of people personally who are just feeling stuck, and they want to go do something that makes them happy and fulfills them emotionally, but they just don't know how to make the leap. So I think what you're doing is going to be freaking awesome.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Yeah, so Michael Bryan David here, and what I do is I am a purpose and mindset coach. I am essentially the mindset trainer for the soul that'll get you high without the weed, because that's true to me, coming from a background of addiction and not having a sense of what that target looks like, right? That purpose, that drive. Yeah. And I know I'm not the only one there, right? So we're all good at making money in different ways. I officially stepped away from my W-2 a week ago as an aircraft technician. I love airplanes. I love working on them. I keep them flying, and it's a passion of mine. But the growth topped out. I reached the top of my game, and it's great that I was able to find that. But I needed something more. And my real drive and passion is helping others get unstuck. Like you said, Ben, we do some of the things because we were told it's a good path. It makes money. Our family said, hey, oh, this is what you got to do. Some families, it's just, this is the job, right? You got to work in our company, whatever that is, but it doesn't always fire you up. The question I love to ask people is what gets your fire going? What gets you excited? And 95+% of the time, it's not your job.
But it can be. It can be your job. And I think that's the point here is, who was it that said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life? I don't know if it was,
Absolutely.
who was that? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head. I
Okay.
really should know it because it's my main driver as well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But it's true. If you love what you do, you will. You'll never work a day in your life. And, I think it's crazy that, and I think I'm stealing this from a movie, but I think it's crazy. I think it was one of my favorite movie of all time, Fight Club, that we work in jobs that we hate to drive a fancy car to get us to the job that we hate. And then we work more hours in the job we hate to buy the fancy suit to wear to the job that we hate. And then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, but we keep doing it because it's just how society told us it's supposed to be done. I think at some point in time, it's like, okay, you graduate high school, you go to college, and you get the job, then you get the good job, then you settle down and get married, then you have the kids, and that it's not that simple, right? I don't think so. Here, tell me this. I think what you're doing right now is scary as hell. Like, you just quit your W-2 job. I mean, that's scary. That's some heavy shit. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get to that point? I mean, how did you get past the fear? What advice do you have for people who are thinking about doing it right now?
Yeah, so really great questions. My W-2 was quite a well-paying W-2, and the me quitting is burning the boats and getting rid of that comfort, right? One of my clients mentioned it to me, and she said, "My passive income allows me to move slowly." And for me, that was a bit of a trigger in the sense you need that drive, you need that fire, and what better to let you up than your passion. But leading up to this, to how did I get there? Uh wow. I mean, in a nutshell, an airplane accident as a pilot, crash landing, surviving, getting short-term disability for 5 months at home, not knowing what to do with myself, joining like-minded entrepreneurs that want to be whole life millionaires. So we identify as GoBundance. And then in that, you get asked, what's your superpower? Right. And for me, that was one of the most challenging questions I've ever been asked, because everybody's got something. I can finance your deals. I can build you, 20 unit complexes. I can build all your backend systems. And what was the answer for me? Until one day I said, you know what? I don't care what anybody thinks. My superpower is energy. I love energy. I love building people up. I love to chat with somebody, reflect their best version, and build them up to bring up their morale and their energy and confidence. Right? Through that, I got suggested to work with a purpose coach, right? Because he's like, you know your superpower, but you don't know how to apply it, right? And I did my work with a gentleman named Mike Duffy for 6 months, and he compiled all the evidence that I needed to show that actually I've been coaching my whole life. I've been helping others. I just now am have enough evidence that I can believe that I can offer that as a service and be compensated for it. So now my purpose is to do the same for others. I just want to help people really get unstuck, and working at that W-2, I just wasn't going to accelerate it quick enough to support my family and really to make an impact. So I'm here declaring to everybody that I'm ready for you. If you're ready to jump and make it to the next level, I'm ready to give you my best of my experience and all that I got, because it's what fires me up, and make you a more aligned path, right? If somebody were to give you a 6 month, sorry to say, but death sentence, and in 6 months you're gonna go, right? My biggest pain for somebody is, would you have something to be remembered by? Would you look back and say, you know what, I lived a fulfilling life. I was doing what I enjoyed. I lived every moment and woke up excited for what the day was, because it was like play, right? You got to find what gets the kid inside you all bubbly and excited. So that's how I got here, right? And I said, I need to quit that, because the comfort of having those checks was just allowing me to slowly feed into it. And I said, you know what? Yeah, it would be nice to have more income, more stability, everything lined up, somewhat perfectly. But as a recovering perfectionist, I know progress beats perfection. Step away and trust in the vision, in the goal that's set at the end. And then the universe always wants to conspire to help you. So you got to just go for it. And you take that first step, and the universe says, oh, okay, now I know where you're going. Let me help you out.
I love that. I love that. You said a lot of things in there that kind of resonated with me. Number one, get rid of the lifeboat. I just had this conversation like 3 weeks ago. There was an agent that worked for me, and he's a good buddy of mine. I love him to death. He's an awesome kid. I call him a kid. He's like 24. But to me, he's a kid because I'm old.
Yeah.
But he's an awesome
Old
kid,
school.
and he's got this magnetic personality, and he's got all the charisma in the world, and just like a sharp kid. Like, he's smart, he's charismatic, he's got all the tools, right? And he was a realtor that worked for my organization for 6 months or 8 months. And he was also detailing cars, and he just decided, he's like, man, this industry, maybe it's not for me. And so anyway, he's at my house maybe a month or two ago, and he's like, hey man, I want to get back into it. Like, how can I prepare? And my response to him was, you can't prepare, dude. You can't. It's just a decision, right? So here's how you know. First of all, you got to get rid of any backup plans, which is your lifeboat. because it's a crutch. It's actually hurting you, right? The detailing cars, right? It's keeping money coming in. You need to save up enough money to live for like 4 months and then just take a leap of faith and go
Yeah.
in head first. Don't even dip your toe. You can't dip your toe in the water. It doesn't work. It
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I've recently had that
Absolutely.
conversation. Another thing that you mentioned was proximity to the right people in that group that you're in. There's some power.
Yeah.
I know the group, so I know there's some powerhouses in there. And just being around those types of people, it does something to you.
I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps because it's absolutely one of the central factors that allowed me to reach this point, right? You hear it all the time. You're five people, you're the average of them. And it just sounds like this beautiful little metaphor, but until you are able to feel that effect, man, it's a game changer, right? So you level up the people around you, what they're doing, what are their thoughts, what are their passions. And yeah, the question that got me at the end was they said, we all have a lot of remember when friends, but we all want more what if friends, right? Because there's people that are looking into the back and saying, oh, look at that memory, this, and it's like, sure, that was a beautiful moment. But what about looking forward, right? Who are the people that are going to say, what if we continue on this path and be courageous and what if we make it? Well, what if we take that leap and actually make it, right? It's amazing. So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
I love that.
I was getting goosebumps, man.
I'm gonna make a new term called "What if friends." I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so true. Like, okay, when I first got sober, obviously I ditched my old friends,
Yeah.
but I made damn sure that I kept the circle tight, and the people that I did hang around were godly men, they were family men, they were extremely motivated and driven entrepreneurs. They were everything that I needed and wanted to be with those characteristics. They were men of integrity. So pretty much integrity, godly men, family men, and then just business sharks. And I made sure that those five people I like was close, and they were my five, and they
It's
had
amazing.
those. And even today, like I make sure I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. Never ever want to be the smartest person in the room.
That's quite the level up, man, that you have that because that's such a pill to swallow to say, you know what, with all the ego that I have, all the experience, there's still so much more, right? I can be the dumbest person in the room. And actually, that's where you'll grow the most, right?
Yeah.
Once you get rid of that ego pill and you're like, I don't care, I'm the dumbest person. I'm in the room. And then you just absorb by proximity all that energy and you just like, man, that's the quickest escalation you'll ever feel in your life. So
So
beautiful
true.
that you
While we're
have that.
on that topic, one of the best books I've ever read, one of my favorite books of all time, is called Ego is the Enemy. And it'll really get you in a different headspace. It's Ego is the Enemy. It's a phenomenal book. Ego ruins so much good stuff in our life. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you, man. Once you start to live in humility, and there's a significant change that happens. I like it. And I also like that, the 6 months to live. I think it's kind of underrated. Also, I'm going to go back to when I was in inpatient rehab. They had us do a very morbid exercise, and they said, "Okay, I want you to imagine that you die tomorrow, and you're overlooking your funeral, and you're looking at what would your friends and people that are closest to you, what would they say about you in like a eulogy?" And it wasn't obviously being an addict at the time. It was really bad stuff. But I still think about that exercise. It's been 8 years since I've been in that facility, and I still think about that exercise. And as morbid as it is, I think it's a necessity. I mean, it sounds like it made a big difference to you.
Yeah. First, before I get to it, I just want to say congratulations to you for finding a way out and being courageous enough to continue on this path because we and everybody that's hearing this needs your story to realize that they can do it as well, or they have somebody that's close to them that they've just let go by the wayside and like, oh, that's just a lost cause. And it's a lost cause because they haven't found their purpose, but it's not forever lost. So first and foremost, I just want to say that to you because it's really inspiring. And I come from 15 years of addiction as well. And yeah, you find a way to fill in the gaps when you don't have that driver. So family, passion. So you fill in the gaps. That's all it is, right? Drugs, sugar, alcohol, TV, sometimes food will just fill in all the gaps. But before I lose it, I'll go back to that exercise. It was super powerful. It was maybe, I think it was my first in-person event after I joined GoBundance January 2024. It was a entrepreneurial summit, right, in Austin, Texas. And basically they got a room of these 200 entrepreneurs, different levels, right? I was still in the beginner level, to become a millionaire. And then there's different levels to it. But the CEO, his name is skipping me right now, but he did an exercise. He got on stage and he did exactly that. He made us do a eulogy workshop. He says, what do you want to people? First, he said, yes, imagine you're at your funeral. He says, what would people say about you? So exactly what you said. And then he says, what do you want people to say about you? And it's so beautiful because you start with the end in mind, then you backtrack. You're like, well, if that's where I want to be, if that's how I want to be remembered, I want people to say I was a good influence. I want people to say that I did my best. I showed up with integrity, with excitement, with love, with joy. When he walked into the room, people got lit up just by him being in the proximity. And then you say, okay, well, how can I best get there? How can I best have that impact? And then you start backtracking and you realize most of the time what we're doing now is not steered in that direction, right? And I tell it all the time to clients, potential clients. I'm like, do you ever just get in a boat and just don't set your sail? And you're just like, I'm just going to sit here and see what happens. Like, in theory, it sounds beautiful. Like, just go with the flow. It's like universe appreciates intention. You're clear about your intention, right? And then it wants to support you in. So my whole coaching practice is rooted in those 4 pillars, my most important. It all starts with clarity, right? Where you're at right now. No bullshit, no thrills. Who are you now? The good, the bad, everything. And then the end, right? Your purpose. What does that eulogy look like? What do you want people to remember you by? How many people are there? Is it 10 people or is it 10,000 people? And then building the motivation through your purpose is easy, right? Because you're excited for it. You're like, I love this idea. And then you build an accountable system, right? A habit tracker through Atomic Habits, one of my favorite books ever for systems. And you start building confidence because now you start counting those wins and you start building towards it. So yeah, that eulogy exercise really, you ask anybody and that'll really put them on the spot because you'll really realize, oh shit, I want this, but what I'm doing right now is not leading me that way. It's leading me to the backside of that grave site, right? Nobody's going to remember that part, possibly, right? Maybe it'll be a few, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely be your North Star. It's your North Star. Like it helps you find, again, like
Mm-hmm.
your GPS or your North Star, whatever you want to call it. I think it's
Yeah.
important. You said you were addicted. You were pothead for 15 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me,
I was,
I could maybe see that. I mean,
can you?
with
Can
the,
you?
with the beard and the glasses. I mean, not to
I'm
be
not,
like
no,
stereotypical.
stereotypical. It is what it is. I am. I was the super hippie for in a past life, but I just found a way out of it. But growing up in Miami Beach, right? It was a good life. I can walk out of my parents' house and in 7 minutes, my feet are in the water, right? I throw on some shorts and my feet are in the water, right? So it's a beautiful story location, and through all the partying, right? And all the nice cars and everything as a youngster coming of age, you're like, oh yeah, well that's cool. And, well I want to be cool too. I want to have some sort of something. Weed at the time was the little thing, right? Started off with a little bit of oregano from Mama's garden and it rolled up in a paper trying to imitate, the weed, and then eventually got to it. And it's, when I did certain drugs, right? I've done my share to get to where I'm at, but I always look for what's the purpose of it, right? And we made a game out of it and we said, what's the purpose of smoking weed? And it was like to see who can hold out long enough before eating because everybody's going to want to eat and munch on something. But yeah, it seemed good at the time, but I got kicked out of college multiple times, right? Because I was signing up for classes and wasn't completing them. I was working, I was having too much fun with my ex-girlfriend at the time and just smoking weed. And yeah, every time you smoke, everything seems perfect. You're like, you know, easy everything, right? Let's just laugh, let's just have fun in the moment, right? It's a momentary reminder and kind of maybe centralizer, if you will. Like it could be used in the meditative sense, if very specifically with that intention. But the way that I was using it was just filling in all the gaps. Wake up, smoke, right? If I want to eat, I need to smoke first because I want to have that extra hunger going in and really gorge and then after I need it as dessert too. And it was just I wasn't functioning if I didn't have it. And people would start to see me start to get all angry and fussy because I'm like, I want my fix. It was my psychological fix. And I told myself for many years, oh, no, you can't get addicted to it, right? It's just weed. You can't get addicted to it. It was all so, but how many years did I go by that the only time I wasn't smoking was when my dealer didn't have? Imagine that. So it's scary to realize it, but
And
yeah.
when did you stop? When did you stop smoking? How long has it been?
This stretch has now been for 2 years, a little over 2 years.
Here. So what I want to ask you is, how do you feel like you have a lot more clarity in your life? Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
1000%. That's what keeps me sober now, right? I'm just like, I can't even waste time. Like, I can't lose a few hours. I'm so driven. My family, my transition to Europe, right? It's all there. It's like, I can't lose time to something that I don't see a true benefit. And I know that I have that addictive behavior to it, right? So I know I have to hold myself back. I mean, maybe there's a okay way to do it, right? And I'm not against it, but I feel that at least for the young generation, maybe when you're older, maybe it's okay, but for the young generation, when you need drive, you need acceleration, you need growth, right? Growth obsessed podcast, you're either growing or you're dying, right? It does not promote growth at all. It just promotes a mental stimulation. And then you come back and you're still back to the same place. You didn't get any downloads. You're not applying anything. So it sounds all good on paper, but yeah.
Well, here's what I found. So I feel like, in my addiction, I feel like my emotional intelligence was very stunted because you're not dealing with anything, right? You're masking it with a drug or alcohol or whatever it is. You're not dealing with problems, emotions. You're not dealing with any of it, right? And so being 8 years clean, I feel like my emotional intelligence has grown substantially where, even if I was like using part-time, which that's not possible for me. I'm an addict. It's either 0 or 100. There's no in between. It is not possible for me. But even if I was, I feel like the sobriety has allowed me to go to a much different place, if that makes sense. You feel that
Absolutely.
way too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You learn to be able to sit with yourself, which is sounds so simple, but it's not necessarily easy for most people because we never did the work to heal our past traumas. Our parents did the best they could, but subconsciously they still passed on some traumas as well. So you got to forgive them. They did their best. As sad, as tough as the childhood, right? Unfortunately, I know some people have even been abused as kids. It's sad to say, but the best thing you could do for yourself is forgive them. Forgive because they did their best. Whether you want to accept it or not. And then you got to do the work to sit with yourself, be with yourself. Why are you masking running away? Why can't you sit with yourself? What story are you telling yourself in your head that's allowing you to retreat and contract? The universe needs us to expand, to blossom, to be a beautiful flower, right? And a really amazing book, I'll just say it out loud, is The Game Changer. I always thought it was a spiritual book until my mentor recommended to me as the best mindset book he's ever read, and it was The Untethered Soul. What a phenomenally great book for how you manage this voice that's in your head. We all have it, right? We all do. And I think it's one of the best questions you can ask somebody is, how do you talk to yourself, right? Is it lovingly? Is it caringly? Do you celebrate? yourself, or usually we're nicer and give people the best advice, but to ourselves, we're the hardest. We're the harshest critics.
Absolutely. I mean, we all control, our perception in life is, I think, is dictated by the narrative that we tell ourselves. And it's interesting, so my degree is in psychology. And my favorite psychologist of all time, Carl Jung, he said, if there's 9 billion people on the planet, then there's 9 billion different realities. Like, when you say or real world or reality. So, like when you're a kid and your parents like, wait till you grow up and face the real world. Well, like that real world can be very different for this person versus this person. It's the lens that we see the world through. It's all on that lens, right? And a lot of that has to do with self-talk and the narrative that we tell ourselves. Because going back to the ego wants to be right. So if you tell yourself that the world sucks and the world's out to get you, the ego's job is to make that statement true, right? So if you tell yourself that, your ego is doing everything it can to make that a true statement. So your lens is extremely jaded at that point. You're only going to see things that make your world suck.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. I mean, do you agree?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Okay.
mean,
All right.
ego. I've heard that name of that book many, many times, and I'm glad you reminded me because I'll put it on the list. But yeah, I mean, how many times? I mean, the one thing that carried me through so many years, I put the note over where I would fill the water on the fridge every time I get water to remind me, was from the four spiritual agreements, the four agreements, right? And the one that I needed that reminder was, don't take things personally, right? Because for me, growing up Hispanic, my family's from Chile, you would always see if anybody were to challenge my father, whatever he said, it was like, no, no, I know, and this boasting, like the rooster, the peacock kind of thing. And so for me, it was always somebody would challenge something I said, and I would take it as an attack on me, but it's really just a discussion about the information at hand. How did you come to that conclusion? Did you check the research? Did you cite it? But I would always, no, 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 but it's got to be right because it's coming from me in my ego head, right? I'm like, I got to be right. I'll defend it, till the end. So, but yeah, yeah, really, that's some good points, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I had another point I wanted to say, but lost what we originally
All right.
started at on the last thing. But yeah,
So so we're gonna dive a little bit deeper now.
go for it. Go
I
for it.
want to know what's a failure that shattered you to your core, but ultimately shaped the person who you are today.
It was failing a second drug test at my federal aviation job. I have a federal license to work on aircraft, and I was disillusioning myself that I was getting ready to leave my job and go on a 1 year sabbatical, going to backpack India. And going from one time I got invited by those old Remember When friends to a festival and did some extracurricular stuff and thought it was just a one-time thing, but came back, continued longer than I should have because of that addictive nature, and ended up getting caught, getting fired, and getting my license revoked, right? So my livelihood to make money and my identity was taken from me. I mean, luckily I had the sabbatical planned up with my partner, now my wife. We backpacked through India and got to dive into spirituality, got to see poverty and all of that. But coming back and how they say, face the music, I needed to get my license again. And I'd already been out of school for 10 years. And now I have to restudy, I have to relearn all of this and regain those licenses. It was hard. It was tough. It was realizing that how could I let something so minuscule, I couldn't control myself, and take that away from me. And basically I had to build it back up and kind of get myself back on track. And that's what's led me to here now. But yeah, it's definitely that was a huge fuck up on my side.
So how did that help shape who you are today?
Yeah, so resilience, right? It just helped show that just because I failed doesn't mean I'm a failure, right?
Mm.
So separating that ego, right? What we just talking about. It was something that happened, right? But it's not necessarily who I am. So shaping that and realizing, okay, I did fail, and yes, I deserve that, right? I needed that lesson, that wake up, and to not take advantage of the opportunities that you have, making the most of it and getting back to it was what gave me all the money to take a 1-year sabbatical. People look at me like wild, like you got to go backpack for a year in India and Nepal and meditate with the monks. And it's like that was my ticket, was my license. And I got it revoked. And it was just like, okay, all right, good job. You did this for a reason. Let's learn the lesson and let's move forward, right? The universe is always on your side. Whatever's happening around you, you created. It's the most humbling thing you can accept is that whatever's happening to you is your own doing. You created this to teach you something. It's one of my favorite original sayings. It was the book that got me started on my spiritual journey. When I'd left college and my brain was going to mush because I hadn't read a book in many years. And one of those times smoking weed at 1 o'clock in the morning, a friend comes to me. It's like, hey, do you want to go hotbox my car? And I'm like, well, yeah, sure, of course, right? It's a chance to smoke weed. And he told me, he's like, hey, somebody brought by this book, Conversations with God. And I was like, wow. I was like, that sounds cool, right? I grew up very Catholic. And then my mom, when I was like 12 or 13, became Buddhist. And then I realized, oh man, we can choose our team. We could choose what religious affiliation. So I wanted to dive in and I read that. And that was such a shift from, instead of asking God for things, right? Because you're young and you're like, oh, please God, give me good grades. Please God, give me the cool car, for my Christmas, to saying thank you in advance, right? Gratitude, just the state of gratitude. And before I lose it, the saying that really was such a game changer for me is talking about the moment, right? It says, God says, life is a present pre-sent to us as a present. So life in the present is pre-sent to us as a present, as a gift, right? So when you realize this, you look at every single thing that's happening to you and you see it as an opportunity, as gold, right? And you look and you say, what did I create this exact moment to teach me? Right? There's something here that I need to find. I created this, however bad, whether it's a plane accident, crashing my car, losing my license, getting my license revoked. I created it for myself. It was already on the way. I couldn't have stopped it. Right. The only thing I have control over is what do I do in according to that, right? You said it, perception, it's everything, right? The life happens, right? It's for me, it's the 80-20 rule. 20% of life just happens. You can't do anything about it. It is what it is. The weather, the car crash, the plane, everything. The power we have is in that 80%. You choosing how you want to react to it. That plane crash is not good or bad. It just is. It just happened, right? How I interpret it, is it beneficial or is it not beneficial to me? Right. So perception really changes it. So when you realize that life is a present, it's already sent to you as a gift. You look at each moment as a gift. You're looking for that gold. And I promise you, you look for gold, you'll find it. Whereas if you're looking for dirt, you're looking to find dirt on somebody or something, you're going to find the dirt. So perception, right? What you choose to focus on is magic. So yeah,
Yeah.
you really got it, Ben. I'm super grateful to be here with you, man.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that too, I mean, I'm a true believer, what you focus on expands, right? So anything where you put your focus, it grows and grows and grows out, right? No, we read all the same books, man. Conversations with God's another really good one on my list too. You know what? In the last few years, I've noticed. I've had I've talked a lot to God, but I haven't done much listening. So the last few years, I've been trying to do a lot more listening and trying to spend a lot more time in silence to listen for the cues and for the conversations. It's wild, man. It's wild because there's a lot of us are, God, and gratitude is great. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I had a gratitude journal, in my sobriety. It was three new things every single morning.
Mhm.
every single
Mhm.
night with
It's
like a
amazing.
deep explanation, like a, not like a one word, but
Mhm,
like I'm
mhm.
happy for the way, my dog like snuggles into me at night every night and, puts her nose up to my nose and it makes me feel good. Like, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because you're absolutely right. You're looking for gold, you're gonna find gold, right?
Mhm.
And if you're looking at, I call it the red, I have it's a name for it, the red car theory, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
looking to buy a red car, man. All you see on the road is red cars. And you're like, man, there's never been so many red cars on the road before. Right. And in
Yeah,
reality, they
yeah.
were always there and nothing changed.
Exactly.
It was just now you're looking for the red car. Right. And it's like we can apply that to so many things in our life. Again, it goes back to the narrative that
Mhm.
we're telling ourselves. Love that, man. And again, the
Yeah.
present is a gift. I mean, that's always, I think that might be an addict thing where I like to live in the future. Maybe it's just a type A personality thing. I don't know. But something that I've struggled with lifelong is just embracing the here and now.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
and I'm not so much to dwell on the past, but I'm definitely living in the future most of the time still and trying to reel that in and it's always going to be a battle for me, I think. So how did you learn, like what were some of the ways that you learned to live more in the present and the here and now?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for asking. So the real saying that puts it all together is if you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious, right? The sweet spot, the magic is in the middle. And it's all we got, right? So the what we have here in front of us is the only thing that's guaranteed, right? Because the future, all these magical versions of the story of the script that you write for your life, none of it is guaranteed, right? So when you realize this, how they say it, time is the only asset we spend, but we don't know how much we have, right?
Oh,
So
I love that. That's good.
yeah, thank you.
Time
You
is
could
the
take it
only asset we have
that we spend,
that we
but don't
spend.
know how much we have.
Oh, that we spend, but we don't know how much we have. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't think of time as an asset, but it is, right? Your health is an asset, your money, your relationships, all that. But time is you know roughly how much money you have in the bank, right? Well, probably pretty clearly. Most people roughly know what their health is, except any crazy health scares or something. But time is the only one that we have no idea what that contract's like. When God wrote it, when we were born, we don't know if he gave us 60 years or 100 years or 40, right? So how to balance that out, right? You can't live every day as if you're going to die in an hour, right? But how they say you live as if you plan as if you'll live forever, but you live as if you only have today, right? And that sounds good, but really it's you got to say 6 months, right? Like because if you just lived as if today, you're like some people would do some wildly obnoxious things, and then they would hate themselves, and they're like, God damn that guy saying that thing, right? Excuse my language, but yeah, so being in the present is just slowing down to say, yeah, my actions are to build a better future, right? We all are doing it, right? Growth. You got to plan growth if you want it in your direction. I mean, you'll grow anyways if you don't plan it, but being here is about just slowing down and experiencing, right? Like if I were to ask you, you got a black shirt on, how does it feel? You'd be like, I forgot that I even have a shirt. Like, I don't even know how that feels, right? You'd have to think about it and you're like, yeah, there's like a subtleness of the shirt on my skin. So bringing yourself back to that present moment and just saying, this is all I got. I'm here. How do I just be here? It's one of life's grandest challenges, to be honest.
Yeah. It's
Be
a
in the
challenge
moment, right?
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's a constant growth, right? For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever graduate from that university. I think it's so one thing for context, right? A little baby story, right? A lot of us when we were in high school and stuff, you have the girlfriend and everything goes well, and then it starts to go to shit, and then all of a sudden the girlfriend's like, I'm leaving you. And then you're like, no, 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 please don't leave, don't leave. Now I feel what my life is like without you. Like I want you back. So I think it's our greatest challenge is how to appreciate what we have right now without actually having to lose it. Right.
Mm.
Because it's easy when it gets pulled away from you. Right. They say everything is important until you're sick. And then only one thing's important. Right. When you lose that capacity, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, now I know what it's like not to be able to walk. I broke my heel after the airplane crash and my mind was working fine, but I couldn't walk. And I'm like, all of a sudden, my gosh, how do I go to the bathroom? How do I wash myself? How do I eat? But those are things I'm only concerned and appreciating because I lost the ability to walk. But most people are walking around, every day, not realizing how grateful they are. One of the things that boils my blood so much when I would meet people is I'd ask them at work, at my W-2 or anywhere, how are you doing today? And they would say, same shit, different day. My gosh, mentally, spiritually, I wanted to punch him. I'm just like, how dare you? How dare you not realize how blessed you are, how you are living better than most likely 80% of the world would kill to be in your position. The opportunity you have, the clean water, the food, the abundance of everything at your fingertips. And you're here saying same shit, different day. That's for me, that's the bottom of what it is to be grateful, right? You just totally have lost sight of how blessed you have an opportunity to be here, right? I'll add one more thing because I'm just ton of nuggets, right? I'm just throwing gold nuggets here. The Buddhists say that I believe in past lives and karma a little bit, and they say that the Buddhists say that the chances of becoming a human in this form is like a blind turtle coming up from 3,000 feet in the deep sea, coming up, swimming up to the surface and putting their head through a life buoy. Imagine a little life raft to save somebody. That's the chance of you coming to this life in this body was like the probability of that blind turtle. And here you are being like, same shit, different day. Be like, man, you just lost sight of God's gift to you to come to this world, right? God says he made us in the image of him. In my belief, we are representations of God, right? I'm not better than you or anybody else, but we're all representations of God. We, in a sense, are representing God. So that our greatest way to thank him is by living out our life in the full uniqueness that we can, right? They say there's 7 billion other people in the world. They're all taken. Be you, be uniquely you, whatever that looks like. I paint my toenails, right? I let the beard out. I look like the hippie, on the beach and stuff. But the illusion, whatever, I don't care what it looks like. It's like, what does it feel like? That's why we're called human beings. So be that human being, right? Whatever that looks like. So thank you for
God.
listening to my power thing.
Yeah, no, I love a lot of what you said. I caught a lot in there, like a lot. There was a lot of gold nuggets in there. I'm gonna go
I
back
did
and
my
listen to
best.
that. I'm gonna go back and listen to it. It's so true, man. This is like just a simple analogy. Like I'm a big believer that life is like the gym, right? If you look to your left, like there's somebody that you just envy and
Mhm.
they're like you want to be like them. But then if you look to your right, like there's somebody that would die to be where you are in your shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's just like you might as well just embrace what you have. What you have.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't try and be better. I'm just saying like, you know, we all we all not we all, but a lot of people, I think I just talked about it with somebody like the woe is me. The woe is me. That's
Mhm,
like the
mhm.
darkest trap that life can that you can fall into, I think, in this life is
The well
falling
is
in
me.
the woe is me. Like I'm the
The woe
victim.
is me.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
woe
Gotcha.
is
Gotcha.
me.
Yeah.
The world's out to get me. I'm the victim. Nothing goes my way. Like that's just the deepest, darkest trap that I think people can fall into.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Right.
yeah. That actually, I have to say this because I think you'll love this if you haven't read it already. And for anybody that is struggling with that exact concept, right? I want to be there, and you're all you're doing is feeling that lack, right? Because you're not there yet. You're like, my target is there, and I'm missing it, right? The Gap in the Gain is one of the most phenomenal books for this, right? Because what it basically, the premise of it is saying that we tend to measure our success against a future target, right? And as long as we do that, we're lacking. We're in lack, right? Like we're always falling short. We're missing it. So you're always beating yourself up versus you're at the gym, you look back and you see that guy there that's struggling, that he just came in and he's like tumbling over with the weights because he doesn't know how to hold them right. And you're like, man, that was me a year ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever that is. So Gap in the Gain says that if you're in looking forward, measuring yourself against the future, you're in the gap. If you're measuring yourself against your past, you're in the gain. Because if you just look back, you're like, holy shit, man, look how far I came. 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 8 years, right? I mean, it's phenomenal. So all these books have really just because it's all here, right? If you just manage if you're just a savage gatekeeper against your thoughts and what you allow in and how you allow it to change, everything outside is just a reflection of it, right? So you just get really good at managing how you perceive, right? Perception, you said it, is such a key thing. Attitude, right? We say in the aviation field, it's one of these corny sayings, right? Your attitude determines your altitude, right? Because as a pilot, right, your attitude is how are you pointing up, right? And that determines how high you're gonna go. So yeah,
Did
one of
that
my corny
did
ones, I
that
had
come
to,
from the aviation world? Because I've been saying
for
that for
sure.
years too. I had no idea.
Yeah. As a
I think I
pilot,
got it from I think John Maxwell maybe stole it from the aviation field then, because I think I
yeah,
heard it from Maxwell. Your altitude or your attitude determines your altitude. No, I
for
love that. I
sure.
don't think that's corny at all. I think that's so true. So true.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. It is.
Man, it's been phenomenal. I wish I had more time, but yeah, you're a dynamic dude, man, and super sharp, super smart. I'm coming back to you
Thank you,
for my
man. I
reading
appreciate
list
you.
for sure because you got the
I love to share it, man. If you can learn from other people's experiences and it just accelerates you, right? It's putting the ego aside, right? Oh, I can do it all on my own. No, what if you can learn from somebody else's 10, 15, 20 years and that'll just accelerate you? We all win together, right? So teamwork makes the dream work. That's one of my all-time favorite sayings. So
yeah,
this is what
yeah,
we're all here for, to push
for
each
sure.
other up, man. It's not about just one of us winning. We all need to win together.
So if somebody is stuck, if someone's feeling stuck, or maybe feeling like they're not living in their purpose and they need a purpose coach, or maybe an unstuck. I don't know if you like the term unstuck coach.
That's a good keyword to say it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. A purpose coach or an unstuck coach. How do people get in touch with you, man?
Yeah. So thank you. Conquer Your Minds. My brand is named Conquer Your Minds, right? So conqueryourminds.com, on Instagram as well, Conquer Your Minds, my YouTube as well. I'm sharing gems from my travels. These gold nugget wisdoms is also the channel name is Conquer Your Minds with an S,
Awesome,
because
man.
sometimes it feels like we have multiple minds and different voices,
For sure.
different. We gotta, once you fix that, you conquer that, the rest is reflection, is amazing. So thank you for the opportunity, Ben.
For,
I really appreciate this
yeah.
dialogue and sharing with you.